Good morning, team. It is Tuesday, April 27th, and I am so excited because it is finally warming up outside. So I hope you're excited too. I'm Amy Core, and I'm joined by Kevin Van Eck, and we are live out of the Goose Island office. So grab your cup of coffee, tea, or your power smoothie, and let's get ready to jump into our latest episode of Coffee with Amy and Kevin.
Yes, good morning, Amy. Good morning, everyone. Grab your drink of choice. We're into another episode of Coffee with Amy and Kevin. So let's talk about where we are right now. We're flying high, right? The market is moving. And when this happens, we have a tendency to become more transactional and less focused on the future. But the risk in this is that while we're focused on our transactions now and neglecting the future, we're putting ourselves into the real estate roller coaster. We're flying high now, but we know what happens next if we're not working on our business. So today we're going to talk about exactly how to avoid the real estate roller coaster. So pull your seatbelt a little bit tighter and we're going to get started.
That's right, Kevin. Today we are going to talk about bringing our A game because we all know it is super busy out there right now, but this is also the time when we're getting a lot of leads, a lot of opportunities, a lot of referrals. And if we start acting like we are just too busy for these opportunities, we are going to see that our business does take a dive at some point. So what we'd like you to do is to take a step back, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, am I bringing my A game right now? And if you're not, then we want you to think about 3 things that you can look at in order to make sure that you are bringing your A game moving forward. So the first thing we want to talk about is exposure. Then we're going to talk a little bit about marketing and things you can do to make sure your marketing is front and center. And then the last thing we're going to focus on is engagement, making sure you are engaging those opportunities and those people out there. So the first thing I want to talk about is online exposure. So what I want you to think about is, what does my online exposure look like? Is it good? If somebody Googles me right now, is there a good chance that they're going to pick up the phone and want to talk with me and eventually want to work with me? And I know this probably sounds silly because we do talk about making sure that you've got online exposure, but I will tell you, in the last 6 months, I've had 2 encounters with agents who did not have the best online exposure. And I'm going to tell you, they were big producers. And you know what ended up happening? They ended up not getting business. In fact, one of them heard through the grapevine, they didn't even get a phone call because when somebody Googled them, they didn't have very many testimonials. Their bio seemed kind of out of date. They just really weren't putting their best foot forward out in front of people on Zillow, on Realtor, or even when they're being Googled. So you want to think about it. Is my bio up to date? Is it really up to date? And I know we're busy, but take a step back. There's a lot of great things that you've probably done in the last 12 to 18 months, and you want to make sure they're reflected in your bio. Then you also want to think about testimonials. You know, we tend to put them up and then we kind of forget it, but make sure all of your testimonials are up and available, and make sure if you can that you are a 5-star agent, that you've got enough testimonials and enough people that give you a 5-star rating so that people can see that when they're going on and Googling you. The other thing you want to think about is, are all of my assets up on my sites where people can find me? And what I mean by that is, so many agents have done branding videos or even small little segment videos that are a great way to take a look at who you are and what you do. Make sure that those assets are added out on social media or out on the internet and out where people can Google you and find them. You want to make sure that you are giving a really nice comprehensive view of who you are, because in today's age, that's really the first step that most consumers take. So you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward so that you've got the greatest odds of somebody picking up the phone or shooting you an email to see if you can help them buy or sell a property.
That's great, Amy. And a perfect segue with your last point when it came to making sure that all of your content is out there when we're talking about content. We know when the market's moving fast, that especially with our listings, we oftentimes don't do everything we would if the market was slower, meaning we don't get listing videos, we don't get the brochures, we don't get great photography and 3D tour and floor plans done. So one of the things when it comes to content that I want to relate to are travel bloggers or fashion bloggers. Think about the way they operate specifically on social media. On social media, they will post content from one trip throughout the entire year. They will use that same content from one trip to Bali and be able to post amazing photography or content for 12 months. So let's think about it this way. Even though our listings are selling at a rapid pace right now, and we don't necessarily need a listing video to sell it, our listings are collateral and content that we can use to continue to market our success and share the stories of the clients that we've helped. So let's talk about listing videos. If you have a property that would look great in a listing video, even if you've already gone under contract, get that listing video taken. Second, just sold direct mail. Nothing conveys the ability to create success more than telling someone that the property sold. So for your database, when we talk about just sold direct mail, remember, just sold doesn't necessarily have to mean this week, last month, this quarter. You can space out your just sold direct mail, but we need great photography and content to be able to do that. You can use just sold photography for 12 months or more. And then brochures. I know a lot of times we're not getting brochures made because of properties are selling so quickly. I would challenge that. Get brochures made, use them, deliver them to the nearest homes surrounding the property or in that neighborhood. Keep them on hand for the future so that in August or September or October, you have the ability to show how you created success for their previous neighbor. And then we'll get into gatefold mailers. Now, depending on which market you're in, you may know what the gatefold mailer is. Effectively, it's a 4-panel or a trifold brochure that differentiates you from everyone else in the market. Meaning, when we're talking about direct mail, oftentimes everyone sends the same style of postcard or the same size of postcard. This costs more, but it also means that people will notice it. Get a mailer, whether it's the gatefold that we're talking about or in your market, find one that you can build that really tells the story of how you're going to create success for somebody using the content and imagery and stories that you've created during this busy time. So with that, what is that story that you're going to tell? And whether it's just sold direct mail or e-campaigns, remember, we're not continuing to market the property. The property's sold. If we're sending a just sold e-campaign or a just sold direct mail, it has been sold. And when we're posting a video for a property that sold 6 months ago, what are we talking about? We are talking about exactly how we created success for the client, focusing on the client. And what that does is it generates this overarching theme showing that we create success for people, generating demand for people that want us to create success for them. And at the same time, towing that fine line between being too busy or hyper successful. We always want to make sure that we're conveying that we can create the same success that we created for others in the past for the person that's receiving or seeing our content, whether it's in their mailbox, on social media, in their email, or delivered to their doorstep.
That's such a great point, Kevin, because I think there is this fine line between not seeming busy enough and then seeming too busy, right? Because we want to be in flow and we want to be busy, but we also want to make sure that we are obtaining new clients. And so I think the third thing that I want to focus on is engagement, because I think that there is an important component to engagement, and that is being prepared when you do get an opportunity, when there is a buyer lead or a seller lead. Do you have a process in place? And I think as you are all sitting here, probably a little bit busy in this market right now, what many of you might be struggling with is if you do get a seller that reaches out or a buyer that reaches out and they want to meet with you, sometimes it's taking you a little bit of time to get back in contact with them and to be able to really show the value that you're bringing to the table. So what I would encourage you to do is to recognize that any good broker is going to get continued referrals or people reaching out to them. And I'm going to ask you, what do you have on hand and on the ready to be able to send to them that shows your expertise in being able to help them? So I'd like you to think about, what do I send to sellers when I get an initial phone call? After I have a conversation, what are the items that you have packaged, whether you're using @Drive, whether you're using our digital listing presentation, or if you don't have that in your market, you can use something like Constant Contact. However you're going to organize it, you should have some sort of outline of what you're going to be sending your seller that shows them your bio, shows them testimonials, shows them a bit about how you work with sellers to create success success for them. Maybe it's a sample of a marketing and sales proposal. Whatever that is, if you've got that ready to go, that means anytime a potential seller calls you, you're able to write a quick little intro email and send that collateral along and show them just how awesome you are. Same is true for buyers. Here's the thing right now in this market, guys, we need to be thinking about buyers really need help, and they need to make sure they're working with somebody that's going to give them the advantage. Again, a buyer reaches out to you. You have a great phone conversation. You're super busy. What can you send along to them? Again, testimonials, your bio, how you work with buyers, how you've created success, being able to send that along in a templated format and simply tweaking the intro email is going to make a huge difference. And it's going to show them that you are an amazing broker, and it's going to show them your A game. Really important. The other thing I want you to think about when we talk about engagement is if you are building your business predominantly on referral, which is what most of us strive to do, how are you taking care of your people? Again, if you are super busy and disorganized, you're not going to be able to reach out and follow through and engage those individuals to continue the behavior. So what I like to think about is make sure that you take the time to create grand gestures. So if you get a past client that sends you a referral, are you waiting weeks and months before you thank them or send them something? That's probably what happens when you're super busy and you're not organized or prepared. So think about those grand gestures ahead of time and make sure that you've got all of your Starbucks cards or whatever nice referral gift that you give out to somebody who passes on a new name or a new contact. Make sure that you can that day send an email, or send a little card and be able to do a Starbucks card and send it in the mail. Those grand gestures are really important because they show your A game. They also show that you're not too busy for more business, because I know we're busy right now, but let's think about it. The market is going to slow down at some point. And if you're doing these things right now while you're busy, you're going to see continued momentum as others slow down, and you're going to continue to create success and grow your business. So we know you're busy, but take the time because you want to be a rock star and you need to show your A game. And these are 3 quick and easy ways to think about how to do it.
That's right, Amy. And I have to say that Amy is great at gifts and grand gestures. And if you look at this ficus tree, this is something that Amy got me several weeks ago. It's growing nicely and it's very easy to care for, and it's greening up my office. So thank you, Amy.
You're very welcome. And you can tell everyone that I got its twin, who's sitting next door and so far is still alive, because if any of you know anything about me, I don't have a green thumb, either of them. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Remember, bring your A game. I know the real estate roller coaster, none of us want to be on it. We don't want to be flying high and then in the depths wondering where our business went. So 3 great tips here. Thank you for watching, and make it a great day.
Bye, team. Make it a great day.